KAKU Television Cable Channel 55, Studio B and 88.5 FM KAKU Radio at Halfway to Hell Plaza in downtown Kahului on the beautiful island of Maui. It's time once more for KAKU Live. And now here's the man who makes it all possible, Shaggy!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. Hey, it's Friday, and if you don't know what's going on, well, it's KAKU Live at 88.5 FM, and of course, Channel 55 on KAKU. My guest today, joining me, is another fancy guy with a very lovely style of hair, as I like to call it, the non-shaggy look. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Gilliom in the studio with us. How's it going,
Eric?
Eric?
Eyebrows okay?
Yeah, your eyebrows are just fine.
That's all the hair I've got.
Oh. Oh, man. Well, Eric, let's just jump right in here, man. How in the heck have you been lately?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm busy these days and excited about a bunch of new projects I got going on in the works. And I've been working hard for a couple years, and you know, life is good.
Yeah. Well, somewhere on this show, I have, dare I say, the most asked question of Eric Gilliom in the streets that is going to come up on this show.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, all right? It is the question literally everybody in the office says, when Eric comes in today, ask him this question. So
the anticipation is killing me.
Well, it shouldn't, but maybe it should. You'll find out in just a sec.
Okay.
First off, let's talk a little bit about you, because I didn't get a chance to put the term producer.
But enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think about me? Ba-da-boom.
So you're a producer now, huh?
Well, I've been a producer all along. I just, needed to put that hat on. Yeah, I was a producer on Get a Job, that wildly successful film that 11 people saw. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding.
It's not that bad, is it?
No,
Come
no,
on.
Actually, there were a lot of people that saw it. But, producing's just been kind of a natural thing for me to do, just because it's just something that I do anyway. I mean, producers, I think, typically there's different kinds of producers. The producer you're speaking of is a film producer. And it's kind of a guy that's, there's lots of different kinds of producers. The producer that I am is a guy that just kind of knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. It's like, hey, let me make a phone call kind of guy.
So producer could be relabeled as professional schmoozer.
There is that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad was really good at that. My dad was one of those guys who just kind of, what do you need? Hold on, let me call. I know a guy who's got one of those, no problem. And he'd make the call and kind of make it happen. But it's just Maui's a small place, so you kind of know everybody, and you can whatever it is you need to make happen, you can make happen. And in this case, the last couple of films that I've done, I get to be the Hawaii producer, just to kind of boots on the ground, kind of make things happen for for the project.
But this has got to be kind of like the antithesis of your music job, because when you're being a musician, you're going out and you're shamelessly, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, and when you switch over to the producer role, it's like, hey, look at them, but give me the stuff because they need it.
No, yeah, look at them, but give me the cash.
Oh.
No, not really, man. It's I don't know. To me, it's all a big creative soup for me. I don't really differentiate, being a musician, being an actor, being a producer. It's just all of it's creative, and I don't really, the lines are kind of blurred.
So honestly, you don't know what you do.
I have no idea even why I'm here.
Oh, God.
No.
Well, let's switch over to the other producer side, because this is something that you are not only well known for being a composer, but producing music. When we switch over to the musical production side, what seems to be the thing that eats up most of your time in that?
Well, writing is always the hardest part. Writing songs. is when specifically talking about music, I have personally found songwriting to be a difficult one, and that's probably because the bar for me is really high. Going back to like when I did the other wildly successful record, Chow Fun. Well, the songs on that record took me a whole year to write 10 songs.
10 songs.
Yeah, and I find songwriting to be, personally, I find it to be, it doesn't just sort of fall off for me naturally. I have to really work at it. And I appreciate songwriters that really work at it. And the songwriters that I admire really work at it.
But when guys go to write songs, I mean, everybody has their little zen. They have their rituals, things that they do. You must face east and do it only at sunset. Do you have any of these crazy rituals that you have to engage in just to make sure that this is the time that I'm going to have the thought that's going to become the song?
Yeah, not really. I the only thing I do that may be different is that I have to be naked when I write.
Wow. All right.
I don't know where that came from, but no, not really.
Oh, wow, this show used to be so family friendly on here.
Yeah. But I'm alone when I do it. So.
Oh, okay. It's not like you're at the park.
No.
Let me compose a song.
I'm not sitting at the park, or anything like that. No. I don't have any weird ritual thingies that I do. I don't write enough. I find myself, I got so many projects going at one time. Unfortunately, I don't carve enough time to sit down and actually write tunes, and that's why I really, my hat's off are to really good songwriters that do. A guy like, in Hawaii anyway, like John Cruz, my cousin Johnny, I just spent the weekend with him a few weeks ago at the Kauai Music Festival on Kauai. And, he really works at his songwriting. I mean, he's about ready to put out another record that I personally believe is every bit as good as Acoustic Soul, which was a wildly huge hit for him.
Still
Hawaii.
is.
Still is. The record's going to go down in history because he's a real songwriter. I mean, he really takes his time, and this is the first time he's released a record since then. And he's told me, he's been writing and recording these songs for over 10 years. And I find, generally speaking, I mean, there are the exceptions to the rule where you get, somebody's like, well, I wrote it in 30 seconds while I was sitting on the toilet. It's like, okay, but generally speaking, I think songwriters work really hard at it, and he's somebody that's really good at it. My sister is somebody that's kind of the exception to the rule. My sister writes; she's a very fluid writer, and she can like produce songs like babies.
Wow. I'm sure that euphemism goes over really well.
Yeah, it does. But and I kind of, I don't know. I grew up listening to, my idols are Stevie Wonder, Sting.
Yeah, but when you just brought that interesting comparison up with your sister and how much she birthed songs, one song every 9 months, that's a painful experience. Have you ever taken that long to write one?
No, she doesn't. No, I'm sorry. The analogy I was making with my sister is she writes them quick.
It's second nature.
Well, she can write them pretty quickly.
But 9 months isn't quick.
Yeah.
But so she writes fast. You write on a longer scale. What happens first? Do you usually sit down and go, this is a good theme? Or, hey, this is a good line, and then you come back later and just build on them?
I'm totally groove oriented. Like I have to kind of like I find a little ditty or I find a little musical thing. The music happens first for me. Then, not always, but usually that's how it goes. Like when I write with my songwriting partner Joel Kira, who's a great lyricist, and we wrote Chow Fun, we wrote Maui Cruiser, we wrote Only Wanna Party, we wrote a lot of songs together for the Barefoot Natives with Uncle Willie and I. That sometimes happened lyrically first, but for the most part, I usually find a little musical thing that I like, and we kind of build on that. Stevie Wonder writes that way. I mean, he usually comes up with a little funky little thing, and then he'll apply lyrics later.
Oh, okay. So for the most part, your jam session actually just starts sitting around and playing whatever instrument that happens to be nearby. Mm-hmm. And then from there, you go, hey, this is great. Let me take it over to somebody that writes lyrics.
Yeah, or Joel and I write lyrics together a lot too. You know, like we talk about the concept, like what's the idea. You know, especially with all the stuff that we wrote for the Barefoot Natives. I mean, we'd sit down and we knew what we were writing for. We were writing for these two knuckleheaded, characters, which Uncle Willie and I were, and the circumstances that we were in, and we would write for that.
And see, that's something that a lot of artists, that when they work on music, they don't have the experience of doing it, because you're doing two different acts. Not only are you having to be the musician, but you're having to be a character that the songs are based about. So you not only have to, really show with the chops, but you kind of have to show with what you guys are doing on stage. This is every show, right?
Yeah. I mean, that whole project was, really sort of conceived between, Brian Cohn and Willie and myself. I mean, we sort of sat down and kind of sculpted these characters that, to sort of make the act different than, we were never going to be Capono and, Cecilia and Capono or, Ulamana. We could do that. We can do that kind of stuff, but the act was built around the idea of us being characters.
Can I ask an honest question? Going down that kind of a path, like the C&Ks and things like that, that wouldn't really fit the type of character that Eric is off the stage, would it? Because you're a very animated, very lively, fun-loving, happy-go-lucky guy. And it seems like the acts that you were just mentioning, these are guys who are known for their seriousness, but also fun-loving nature on stage. Is there a part of you that's like, that's great for them, but for me, I'm different?
Yeah, what Uncle Willie and I came to be as the Barefoot Natives came very naturally. Mm-hmm. We were just sort of extracting what we already were. I'm sort of an animated guy, and Willie's a man of, an entertainer of 1,000 faces, and so we were just building on what we already have, and so we didn't really set out to be more traditional, sort of a duo.
Yeah, there was no moment where you're going, this will sound great in a hotel lobby somewhere.
We were trying to avoid that. But it was always kind of bound to be more of a theatrical kind of thing. Oh. And which is really then how the movie became an extension of that.
So it's so funny to me because rather than being more akin to like a C&K, it sounds more like the Barefoot Natives is more akin to like an Alice Cooper, which is a theatrical performance that just happens to be musically inclined and presented on a stage.
Yeah, or more like a Martin and Lewis, you know what I mean? It was like we really were looking at these sort of classic comedic musical duos.
Almost vaudevillian.
It definitely had that vibe to it, which is, we built an audience for that. People were into it.
But then you also, besides just doing all of this stuff for the soundtrack, then you carried over that character and birthed Merton, which is probably one of my favorite goat wrestlers of all time. Seriously, Joel, check this. Every day I drive by the Surf and Goat Dairy, and I'm just like, you lucky goats, you lucky Merton's not here.
You're lucky Merton's on hiatus.
But that character resonated with me, and it wasn't just the fact that he was, dare I say, a little challenged mentally, but that his viewpoint of the world was so pure and so innocent that everything that you saw through that character's eyes was just like a new experience. So yeah, I go by the goat farm every day, and I think about Eric Gilliom out there
thank you very much.
Wrestling goats.
You're seeing goat pellets all over the ground. You're thinking, God, Eric was here.
Eric was here.
The character of Merton actually preceded Get a Job, and it was a character I actually grew up with a friend of mine, a local boy in Kihei, named Merton, and I know he's out there if he may be listening, but my friend Merton. And the whole time I remember growing up, I remember thinking to myself, man, this is it's a funny name, but it's a cool name. I like the name Merton, and I never met another Merton anywhere, on the planet. So a few years before we started working on Get a Job, I kind of developed this character. I kind of always did this character. Like when I was going to my performing arts school in Chicago, like I had this one class that was a dialect class, and we had to learn, how to speak, Scottish dialogues and English dialogues, and so for our thesis project, we had to come into the class, and everybody had to bring a dialect from somewhere around the world. Well, I came in with a pidgin dialect, and basically that's kind of when Merton was born. And so I came into the class of all these like Midwestern people in Chicago, and the teacher's like, well, go ahead and Mr. Gilliom, what is your dialect going to be? And I was like, okay, you guys, my dialect's going to be this guy who's from the island of Maui, and he talks like this. And he failed me because he thought I was making it up.
What?
And I was like, and it was really, that was kind of like the birth of this character. And so to prove that I was actually, creating something that was real, I spent the next 6 months, and that's all I did was talk pidgin the whole time I was in school. And people got a kick out of it. But the original Merton was way more like, he was a little more foul-mouthed. Oh. And his one phrase he used to always say to everybody was, everybody, you know what, because I've been everywhere, I talk to everyone about everything. Was the main thing he used to say.
And they failed you for the class,
They failed me in the class because they didn't think it was a real dialect. And I was like, bro, you're going to get lickings.
Oh, God. All right, Joel, I hate to do that. We got to be depressing. I got to take a break here.
No worries.
But, here's the funny thing. Can I just go ahead and say this to teachers across America? Please, teachers, pidgin is a real language. Okay, real quick, we're going to have a little break with Joel. He's going to have the radar, a little snippet of something I've dug up from Eric Gilliam's archives, and when we come back, the question that has been burning on everybody's minds at KAKU, what do you want to know about Eric Gilliam? Well, it's only one thing, and it's coming up next. Until then, we'll take a quick break. Joel, hit 'em!
Hi, I'm Joel Agnew, and this is your radar. The jokes are only going to get worse for the Stoner clan of Virginia. Police arrested 42-year-old Paul Stoner on, yes, marijuana charges, reports NBC 29. Investigators say they seized $10,500 worth of pot plants from his home in Orange County, along with loose marijuana, drug paraphernalia, prescription drugs, needles, spoons, and multiple guns, reports the Daily Progress. Police suspect he was not growing this stuff. He was not only growing this stuff, but selling it to minors in the area as well. At least he wasn't wearing a shirt adorned with his own mugshot. The Cincinnati Archdiocese is all for people embracing the Ice Bucket Challenge, just so it doesn't conflict with Catholic beliefs. The Archdiocese says it's okay for Catholics to get doused in ice-cold water to raise money for ALS research, but the funds shouldn't go to the ALS Association, which backs a study that uses embryonic stem cells. The Cincinnati Enquirer reports. The Archdiocese's 113 schools now plan to redirect their money to a medical organization that uses only adult stem cells in its research. The AP reports it's a well-established moral principle that a good end is not enough, says an Archdiocese spokesman. The means to that end must be moral licit. Embryonic stem cell research uses cells from embryos that are 4 or 5 days old, Salon notes. Whereas adult stem cell research takes cells from throughout the body, and as the Washington Post reports, a Vatican directive in 2009 argued against stem cell research, saying that it presents serious problems from the standpoint of cooperation in evil and scandal. The American Life League, an anti-abortion group, compares embryonic stem cell research to abortion and urges its members not to support the ALS Association. A Catholic ethicist says a moral controversy has arisen in the church over the ice bucket challenge, but at least one Catholic blogger seems to have found a solution. While I can't donate to the ALS Association, he wrote, I will certainly pray for those that suffer from this disease. A Kihei property, described as a haunted house and neighborhood eyesore, is scheduled to be cleaned up today by landscapers contracted by the county. The house at 185 Waipehe Street has been abandoned, neighbors say, and trees in the front yard have become so overgrown that branches touch the ground and encroach upon neighboring sidewalks and properties. Rats run rampant in the tall, uncut grass, and squatters have used the house as temporary shelter. There is so much dry brush in the back against the fence line that neighbors on all sides are concerned this summer of a fire, District Neighborhood Association President Kevin Curry said. A high surf advisory has been posted for Maui County's south-facing shores until 6 p.m. Friday. A passing South Pacific storm generated a large swell that began reaching the islands Thursday, the National Weather Service said. Surf was expected to rise 6 to 9 feet Thursday and 5 to 8 feet Friday. Beachgoers should beware of strong breaking waves and dangerous currents, forecasters said. For more information, call 866-944-5025 or visit www.prh.noaa.gov/HNL. I'm Joel Agnew, and that has been your radar.
The first time I was confronted face to face with the Hawaiian monk seal, I instantly had a movement. One cannot help but recognize the catastrophic effect that invasive species have had on its population. The resemblance between the two species is uncanny. Another large beach-dwelling mammal, rarely seen and highly elusive, is the barefoot native. Let's quietly observe them in their natural habitat. Venture too close to these creatures, lest they crash your party, drink all of your cognac, and pleasure your friends and family.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Eric Gilliom. Yay, Eric! Oh, God. All right. So, by the way, real quick, what the heck was that we just saw?
That was a promo thing that we did. It was actually the beginning of the first show that Uncle Willie and I did at the MAC. We integrated a bunch of video stuff, and it was sort of like, you know, the plight of the Barefoot Natives, and it started off. You know, the live show that we did had this storyline built to it, and that's what opened the show.
Oh, yeah. So from there, you guys would go on to the onstage act, and then there was a couple of other video.
Well, no, the whole story was like we were trying to get to the theater, and we couldn't actually get to the theater because of all of these problems that we were having. But yeah, that was pretty funny. I haven't seen that in a while. We made a whole bunch of stuff like that. It was fun.
Now, you told us while it was playing. Oh, by the way, that's my voice doing the narration. So, real quick, can we get a sample of your voiceover voice?
Yes, that was my narrator voice. That actually, it was more like, "Hello, this is David Attenborough from Nature."
BBC.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
No, we didn't. No, Willie and I were we were always doing silly stuff like that. It was fun.
So it started off basically as you guys clowning, and then it became the idea of, well, since we're clowning, might as well film it.
I mean, we were just figuring out, how do we make money at all this clowning? And we, sort of figured it out.
By the way, because I've been at this like some 20-odd years, how do you make money at clowning?
You join the circus.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Man, there's a lot of ways, you gotta, it's like they say in the theater, man, you gotta have a gimmick if you want to get a hand. That's still around today, you gotta create something,
Okay. Well, speaking of creating things, you have created kind of a firestorm in this building. I'm going to tell you that no less than 6 people told me that this needs to be the question that I ask Eric Gilliom when he comes in.
I'm sitting down.
Okay. Here you go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The question on everybody's mind is, why in the heck is Eric Gilliom so big of a fan of Burning Man?
Woo! All right.
You thought it was about some baby mama stuff. Or,
I was oh, man.
I'm not going to pull a Maury. I'm not going to have the envelope
somebody
out.
Walks in with a baby, it's like, it's yours. I'm like, oh, God.
Gilliom, you are the father. No, that the only way that would make this show is if Joel was the mother, because we believe in being strange. Right, Joel?
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. But seriously, before there, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, you never heard about it, never went there. Then you showed up, and now every time we meet Eric, it's always somewhere in the conversations a countdown to the next Burning Man. So everybody said, okay, you got to bring this up. What exactly does Eric do at Burning Man that he's so excited to do year after year?
Well, first of all, what happens at Burning Man stays at Burning Man. This is my 5th year.
Good God!
In a row. And, I came up with a little phrase that I tell people that is really what it's all about. And I don't want to say too much about it, only because it's become sort of a global phenomenon now. And, it's kind of losing its uniqueness because so many people want to go now. But in my life's experience so far, Burning Man is the greatest expression of the human imagination.
Wow.
In one spot. And I have news for you. Disneyland is not the happiest place on earth. It's Burning Man. By the way.
So, what are they doing at Burning Man that makes them happy?
There's a lot of stuff that goes on there. I mean, first of all, the whole philosophy of Burning Man is about free expression. Mm-hmm. And people take that as far as they can possibly take it.
So it's safe for you to go there and write songs naked publicly.
Oh, you would be, that's, people would look at you and go, oh, that's all you got?
You're merely naked? You should have sewn on an extra arm like I did.
Whatever. First of all, at its core, it's a music and it's an art festival, and people are creating things for Burning Man on a monumental scale, and they come from all over the world, and they make a huge effort to create one of a kind thing to show at Burning Man. And Burning Man is very technologically driven, and people are coming to kind of show off the newest, latest, like they're trying to one-up each other with, LED lighting or sound or visuals. And
this is kind of like the big electronics showcase that the industry does every year, but for hippies.
Well, it's not really hippies, man.
Oh.
The Burning Man is...
Well, bohemians. Expressive people.
I mean, last year, the night of the burn last year, I found myself hanging out with this guy that worked for NASA. And he'd been to the burn 14 or 15 years in a row. And he's, one of the top leading scientists that works for NASA. I mean, you get, it is a huge melting pot of people of all walks of life, of all races, all colors, all styles, all flavors, you name it.
Do you think the guy from NASA was there in hopes of finding alien life?
Well, he knows that that's where they are. So he's there doing some studies. But, man, it's just a lot of fun, It's the music scene is really amazing.
You get such a wide variety of music. You got live music, you got EDM music, you just got an incredible buffet of non-stop creativity.
So when you went for the first time, you were instantly hooked.
I was so blown away the first year that I went that I took a big camera with me, and I had a nice camera, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I just was like so shocked that I just decided I was just going to make a film, thinking I'm going to make the first Burning Man movie, and then come to find out there's like 80,000 movies that have been made about Burning Man. But it's a very special event. It's not for the lighthearted. The conditions are really difficult. You got to really want to be there to go there.
So why would you go?
I haven't answered that question yet. I mean, none of this is good enough yet. Well, because it's. I go. This is a good question.
I go to Burning Man because it's fun.
Well, it is fun. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Why do people go to Disneyland? Because it's fun.
Well, no, to shut the kids up.
Well, okay, there is that.
Yeah. But you cannot take kids to Burning Man.
I mean, at the end of the day, I go because, if I had to answer the question, I go because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it is fun. It's kind of an adult-oriented kind of thing. There's a lot of partying, but, at the end of the day, it's just amazing to see what people create with costumes and,
lack thereof,
art cars and sculptures and music. I mean, it's just, and it's 24/7 for 7 days. It's just like you just go until you drop, and then you wake up and you go some more.
In the middle of the desert.
You're in the middle of, the conditions are harsh, so it's not for everybody. Yeah. Trust me, if you're more inclined to go to the spa, you don't want to go to Burning Man.
Okay, so let's go through Eric Gilliam's basic Burning Man survival tips. Tip number 1, what is the most important thing you need to remember about staying 7 days in party heaven?
Underwear.
Really?
Well, I wear underwear. Not many people do. But,
I was thinking, this is Burning Man. Underwear? No. Really? This is your thing?
Well, water, of course, because you're in the desert. But it's harsh. I mean, you gotta really want to go. I mean, to go to any. Why do people climb Mount Everest?
So you train for this, like when Burning Man. What do? Go lay out in Lahaina with no water?
No, man. I hit the gym every day for months and months and months, and you lose a bunch of weight because, generally speaking, people are really fit at Burning Man.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you gotta kind of have your act together. You really got to have your act together. I mean, all seriousness aside, you're going to a very difficult place where what you bring in is what you got.
And that's it. That's all that you got.
I mean, it's a gifting community, and if you're short on something, or you need some water, or you need underwear, or whatever, somebody will be happy to donate.
I am not so sure I would want to wear donated underwear.
And that's a problem because...
Well, you're right. You're a Burning Man. Why not wear the underwear to start with? See, Joel, we've got this Burning Man thing figured out in an afternoon.
Yep.
God, see? And honestly, everybody asks me, it's like, Eric Gilliam, Burning Man. This is like a hot dog.
And you know what? I am so happy that people have that disposition about it because it's already bulging at the seams, and we don't need more people. And so if people have the perception that it's like, it's just a bunch of drunk hippies, it's like, okay, let's just leave it at that.
So what we should really say is if you're planning on going to Burning Man, don't. It's a bunch of drunk, vagrant hippies, and you will not have a good time.
That's correct.
All right. See, and now we've solved 2 problems.
Yep.
God, man. This show solves more problems in a day.
I am very grateful for that I get to come here and dump my psychological and emotional issues on live television.
Really? Do we have any today? Where's my notepad? This is going to get deep. Tell programming we're going to 2 hours tonight. So tell us about your mother.
I need more than 2 hours.
Oh, God. So you have a hick character, too? Because this is what I've heard, and please tell me if this is the honest truth, because for years and years and years, there's been a rumor circulating that Willie K does an excellent Shaggy impersonation. And I've never seen it, and he's never admitted it to me.
That's the mystery of Uncle Willie K, because he does 1,000 impersonations, and it does not surprise me that you're one of them.
Really?
I mean, basically, if he, the moment he meets you, the second you walk away, he does an impersonation of you.
Wow, that's got to be pretty
It has
cool
something
talent
to do
to
with all
have.
the cartoons that he used to watch when he was a kid.
Oh.
Oh, come on, man! You've seen him do "We Are the World."
Well, yeah, as most of the voices. It's kind of strange. But it's just, it's funny to me that when you guys, being serious musicians that you are also some pretty serious funny men. And when I went to the last time that I
Really?
got to... Yes.
You think I'm funny?
I think you're funny.
Oh, God.
It's so great. But the last time I went to go see the Barefoot Natives, I remember halfway through the show going, dear God, you could stop this music and just go with what you guys are doing on stage and laugh.
And we would often do that. There were shows, some of our best shows, we never really got around to the music. We just... People were like, ha ho. Well, you haven't played anything yet.
Yeah. Play something finally. It's not a Hana-ho at that point.
We paid for music. Shut your pie hole and sing.
Oh, man. What is like the worst reaction you guys have had?
Boo.
Really? I'd figure by now the boo is...
No, we never got booed.
I would not think so.
No, we never got booed.
No. And if so, that was not the right concert.
Yeah.
But the thing that always gets me, coming back to Eric as the person, we have these extremes of Eric Gilliom, extravagant Burning Man fanboy. And then we have Eric Gilliom, narrative voiceover with different voices for promos. And then we have Eric Gilliom, naked songwriter. At the end of the day, which one of these Erics is the one you want people to remember?
I'm psycho. I'm completely psycho. I don't know, man. I'm just doing what I do. I don't know. I just have fun and do funny stuff and try to...
There's sometimes that I sit back here, and I'm going to be honest, a little bit of professional envy because I'm going, look at the fun time Eric's having. Dear God.
Well, because my motto is, if it ain't fun, run.
Really? Because I haven't got to that stage in my career yet. You know, that stage where you make the decision that you can go into doing something fun or putting up a lot of BS for a paycheck.
Or just have fun at everything you do.
Oh.
It's just a disposition.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Having fun is a choice.
Pretty much. Last that I checked.
I like how Joel is laughing at me like I have just now figured out some mystery of the universe.
He's having fun, laughing at you.
If people that have fun live longer, Joel is going to live forever. He's going to be running the show when he's 196.
That's a good thing.
Oh.
Well, he is 100 and something. 36.
136. Are you a Time Lord? Oh, God. Well, getting into some of this crazy psychopathic behavior for you, you do have a bunch of different styles all thrown together. Willie, you said, watched cartoons a lot as a kid. What's your excuse?
I had a really horrible home life. I was really, really lonely.
Oh, God.
I sat in the room by myself a lot.
Oh, God.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just...
Okay.
I got involved in theater really young, and I was doing plays, and I was around creative people, and it was just super fun. And, when I was like a freshman in high school at Baldwin High School.
Go Bears.
I got involved in community theater back then, and, in the late 70s, in Maui, theater was really happening, and there was the old community theater, and I was around a lot of really creative adults, and they encouraged me, and I don't know, my exposure to creativity at such a young age was, and then I was raised around it. My grandmother was really creative, and she was always putting on shows, and it just kind of fed itself, and that's kind of...
But you come from a household with two artists, you and your sister, and possibly
and my
more,
dad.
right? And your dad, yeah. I forgot about Dad. So you come from a multi-talented household. I mean, was there any pressure on you to be kind of what you are, or was it just They're having fun. I want to have fun too.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. It was never even, we just had a lot of fun. And from it came, I became what I became, my sister became what she became, and my brother became a Voyager.
Voyager.
Whatever.
Well, the thing is like with me and my sister, there was always rivalry. Like if she could get a whole pack of French fries down in 2 minutes while we were driving to school, I could get the extra supersized pack of French fries down before we got to school. There was always that competition.
And look where it led you.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic thing.
It really is. But you're saying that no, we were just all doing our own thing. So there was never any sibling rivalry. No,
because my sister and I we're both in the entertainment business, but we're also 4 years apart. So when I was graduating high school, she was just coming in. When I was graduating college, she was just going, we were always we're 4 years apart. So that made it kind of like we were never really in competition.
Oh, okay.
And, not really in competition. She's my sister.
But, it could have worked out in your favor if you think about it. Send the pretty Gilliom first, and then once she breaks the ice, then Eric comes, right? Was that a plan?
That's true.
Oh.
That could have, Now I'm getting really depressed about all this, man.
No. Well, on that depressing note, we'll go ahead and get ready to take a break here and come back.
More depressing news with Eric Gilliom when we come back.
Yeah, right now, though, you want to know what's really dumb? It's the Ice Bucket Challenge. Why is it really dumb? The answer is going to surprise you, and I'll tell you all about that in How's Dumb Is America. Plus, a little sneak peek of one of my favorite Eric Gilliom characters. You'll see it in just a sec. Then we'll come back and finish here. A big Friday show on 88.5 FM, and of course, Channel 55, KAKU. Go ahead, hit it, Joe! Hey, it's Dr. Shaggy here to diagnose the world of things that are dumb that America loves. And today, we go viral. I'm sure by now, with everyone from major celebrities to your next door neighbors doing it, you've surely heard of the Ice Bucket Challenge. I know what you're thinking right now. Shaggy, are you about to call anyone and everyone that's taking the Ice Bucket Challenge dumb? Is this about to turn into a video compilation of people being too dumb to dump a bucket of ice water on their heads? No, as even from these failures, it came out just yesterday that the ALS Association has topped $41 million in donations. Oh, you're thinking, then this is about to be about charities and money then. Well, let's say for 1 second, it is, but it isn't. But let's have fun and say I wanted to look in the numbers behind the ALS Association. Here they are from the year 2012. Total revenues, expenses, travel. So even in these, you can see that the ALS Association runs a pretty clear-cut charity. It does indeed use its donations to promote awareness about the disease and even appears to work in a deficit to that end. So as some charities are pretty shady when it comes to how they blow their monies, these guys seem to be on the up and up. Now, is this about to become a serious look at the effects of what happens to the human body when you expose it to things that could possibly result in hypothermia? That's a condition that can literally kill you in a minute flat. Maybe the dumb thing is the fact that any person who's not physically fit shouldn't expect to pick up a bucket of ice and water over their heads weighing over 42 pounds, as most injuries from the Ice Bucket Challenge aren't related to the cold, but to blunt force trauma to the head and neck as a result of not knowing your own strength. Plus, cold water is rather slippery, so even if weight isn't the issue, many Americans have been sent to the ER as a result of losing their grip on their ice buckets. But once again, this isn't the dumb thing. It's a dumb thing, but not really what's dumb about the Ice Bucket Challenge. Now, is it the ALS that is the dumb thing? Maybe ALS is some crazy disease that doesn't really affect anyone, and the fact that they're making all this money is the dumb thing, right? If that's what you thought, oh boy, are you wrong. ALS stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and is explained easily like this. Amyotrophic comes from the Greek language, a meaning no or negative, myo referring to muscles, and tropic meaning nourishment. Literally, no muscle nourishment. When a muscle has no nourishment, it atrophies or wastes away. Now, lateral identifies the area in a person's spinal cord where portions of the nerve cells that signal and control the muscles are located. As this area degenerates, it leads to scarring and hardening, and that's sclerosis. Now, ALS, sometimes commonly called Lou Gehrig's disease, is a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. Little worker nerve cells, they're called motor neurons. They reach from the brain to the spinal cord and from the spinal cord through all the muscles in the body. These little guys are like messengers that take signals from your brain to your body and make sure when you say, hey arm, grab that ice cream bar. Your hand gets the message within a millionth of a second and is happily executing your brain's edict that it does indeed want that ice cream bar closer to your mouth, like so. Oh, God. Now, with ALS, sufferers experience a progressive degeneration of these motor neurons, and it eventually leads to their death. And when the motor neuron dies, they stay dead. And with the ability of the brain to initiate and control muscle movement lost, patients in the later stages of the disease may become totally paralyzed. So, there you have it. There's nothing dumb about ALS or anyone that has it. So what is the dumb thing? I hear you screaming this at your screen right now. Well, I'll tell you. It's why are we having to raise donations for an organization that's battling a very serious illness that has over 30,000 sufferers in the U.S. alone? You see, in the U.S. pharmaceutical industry, there's no care or concern for what diseases are the most threatening, or even which ones are most easily researched or can be cured with very little funding. No. See, they care all about the bottom line, just like any other company out there would. So even though there's a disease like ALS that has devastating effects for the people that suffer with it, there's not enough profit in finding treatments or even researching a cure for it to become interesting enough for a company, say like Pfizer, to dedicate resources to it, as it would take away funds from research into another medicine that maybe could bring them some profit. Take Viagra, for instance. Once it was found out that the wonder drug UK 92480 wasn't effective enough for treating people that suffer from angina, that's a heart condition that constricts vessels that supply the heart with blood, Pfizer, instead of throwing it out along with the millions of dollars they invested in it, looked into its side effects and happened to find one that might be profitable. Thus was born the little blue pill that may do nothing for your heart, but does generate Pfizer around $1.2 billion annually. Now, it may not have saved lives, but it did make money, and every company out there, no matter what business they're in, wants to make money. See, the dumbest thing about the Ice Bucket Challenge is why we even need one. Because America simply doesn't want to admit to itself there is no profit in helping every problem. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. So if you are planning on doing one, hey, go for it. Use Smart Person U, because you are helping to raise awareness and funds for a disease that's not profitable enough for a pharmaceutical company in America to pursue. Just make sure you take precautions so you don't end up like any of the other hundreds of ER visits that have resulted from the Ice Bucket Challenge. And join me next time as we sail the seas of dumb in America.
KAKU.
Gesundheit.
What?
What? Gesundheit. You sneezed, so I said Gesundheit.
I didn't sneeze. I said KAKU.
God bless you.
Stop that.
What?
I'm not sneezing. I'm trying to tell you about Maui Community Media, or KAKU. It's this great place on Maui where you can inexpensively learn the art of shooting and editing video, learn how to work in a TV studio and in the field, and after you do, you can check out a camera and lighting and sound equipment to use for free. And when you're done, they'll run it for you on TV. And that is nothing to sneeze at.
Oh yeah, KAKU. Very cool.
Well, if you knew what I meant, why...
I couldn't understand what you were saying. You were sneezing so much.
For more information on how you can learn to shoot and edit and screen your own videos, call Maui Community Media at 871-5554 or go online at akaku.org and create for yourself what Akaku is.
God bless you.
Oh.
So if my life should ever end and tomorrow comes, the sun will keep on shining, just know I've loved nobody else the way I've loved you all my life.
That had to be one of my favorite scenes in Get a Job. Look at that. Merton jumping down the wave, and really, the funny thing about that whole scene was the fact that
I actually rode the wave. That was the most challenging part of the whole thing.
you actually, there's no way that you could have rode that wave, because that wave was in a place where waves
It's Hollywood
do not
magic,
exist.
baby. That remains to be seen. I will have to take that one to my grave.
Well, can we talk about some Hollywood magic real quick? Because during the break, Joel asked me about this thing called the Rocky Horror Picture Show at the MAC.
Yeah.
That I did not know that you're involved in. Rocky Horror Picture Show? Are you playing Frankenfurter?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, well, I'm sort of revising the role, but what we're doing at the MAC is there's going to be a Halloween extravaganza thing that's going to happen, and Rocky Horror is going to be kind of a part of it, but the MAC is going to put on a big event that's 21 and over and something for people in Central Maui to do. We're going to have some great DJs there. I'm going to have a full cast of Rocky. The movie's going to be up on the screen, but I'm going to have a live band there. So it's going to be kind of this melting pot of, a big old Halloween party.
Is it safe to call this Maui's Burning Man?
Man, you're stuck on this Burning Man thing.
I'm telling you.
It has nothing to do with Burning Man. No, this is just, we're going to throw a big Halloween party, for adults, and it'll be fun. We're excited. I've been wanting to do sort of this version kind of Rocky Horror for a long time. I did it in '93, and then again in 2000, and I forget. I've done it 3 times.
Okay, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah, I've done it 3 times, and the show's a lot of fun. The music is really fun. It's so I'm gonna kind of create a scene that's got I got some really good DJs, some dance music, and we're just gonna create a scene that's gonna be a lot of fun for Halloween.
No, and typically on Maui, everybody heads over to the west side, so this is a reason for those people that are not going to travel, they can have that kind of experience right in Central.
Absolutely.
That's going to be actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
So how much begging do me and Joel have to do to get tickets to this thing?
A whole lot.
A whole lot. Joel, put that on our memo.
I'll start begging tomorrow.
Okay. Expect the gifts coming to your door.
Thank you.
Tomorrow morning.
Alrighty, that's a good start.
But there's also something else that you're working on. Aloha Santa. What is that?
It's a feature film that I've been working on for 2 years now that I'm producing, and I've got a significant role in the film. And I've been working with my director, producing partner, Jonathan Udis, and we are scheduled to start shooting this feature film in February. And it's a big film with a really big budget. But big for us. Anyway.
Yeah, it's, instead of just getting the side of poke, you can get the whole plate lunch this
pretty
one.
Much, but
not much else.
Yeah.
But are you going to be casting local people here?
Well, we're in casting right now.
Oh.
We're focused on the lead role, which we are currently looking at several big A-list actors that I can't mention, but you know who they are.
Mm.
And it's a wonderful story that we've been working on. It's basically about the newly appointed Santa who is kind of a lovable loser and doesn't really have his act together. He takes the sleigh for a test drive and he crashes it on Maui the week before Christmas without his magical powers. So Christmas is doomed as we know it.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're looking at filming all the North Pole scenes in Finland, and then the rest of the movie takes place on Maui.
So you're going to Finland to pretend that it's the North Pole. Why don't you just have like a sound stage where it's nice and warm? I mean, do you really need this type of realism?
Well, pretty much, yeah. I mean, oddly enough, Finland has a town that's dedicated to Santa Claus called Santa Claus Town. And we've been working with the Finnish, film commissioner and folks trying to sort of get that happening because it's basically a point and shoot kind of situation. We're aiming to get there in the first part of December to shoot before the tourists arrive, but it's the whole town is made up. It's basically Santa's village. It is Santa's village.
Wow! So that's where
a little more expensive to try and recreate Santa's village with snow on Maui.
No, some baby powder from Long's. I mean, an afternoon. Joel, we could do this.
Yeah.
Oh.
What was I thinking?
Come on, man.
Call the producers. We made some changes.
Yeah. Instead of that plate lunch, we're eating steak tonight.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But casting for others, like extras and things like that.
We will be doing some casting locally. People will know about it. We're going to go through you'll know. There'll be an announcement about it. But right now we're just focused on the lead actor who is, basically going to be carrying the film. And there's a couple of other supporting roles that we'll also be going to well-known actors. And then, we are going to cast the rest of it here locally.
May I make a pitch for possibly a character in your show, a TV host, accompanied by his rock and roll theologian, director, producer guy?
Absolutely. Let me call the producer right now.
All right. Yay, we're in. Yeah.
We're changing the script.
The First Church of Rock and Roll is back.
Have you ever heard of Shaggy? Yeah. Well, never mind. No, yeah, me either. But we're putting him in the movie.
Yeah, all right. So out of that $8 million or something, I don't know, $9-10 billion, whatever you spend on monies, $30 of it has been coming right back here, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Everybody's got to get paid.
I'm telling you, though. I gotta say, though, it's coming up on the end of the show, and this is the part that I hate because I actually feel like we could just keep going. I mean, we could go all night. As a matter of fact...
As long as we don't talk about Burning Man.
Why not? I mean, it's so fun that you go there, and it's so odd that you go there at the same time because you never tell us what you do there.
Well, that's because I can't.
Wow, man.
Can't do that.
So if you're planning on going to Burning Man, take your confidentiality agreements.
Mm-hmm.
But if people want to catch up on the stuff happening with Aloha Santa, Eric Gilliom, where can they find you?
Oh, I have a terrible website which needs a facelift. So anybody out there that wants to work on my website for me, call me.
Okay.
I hate websites. They're just hard to keep up with. They're a pain in the patootie.
Yeah, tell me about it.
If you want to know what's going on in my career, call my sister. Well, actually, I take it back. Call my mom. She's at 242.
Hey, you want to talk to Eric's a lovely boy.
That's all she does. She sits on the phone all day going, well, he's in a movie now. Didn't you know that?
Now they're going to Finland, wouldn't you know?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Your mom was...
Burning Man, he shouldn't go there because it's a bunch of drunk hippies in the desert. I don't know why he does that. Jeez. It's terrible.
Oh, God.
He's just going to drop dead out there one of these days.
Probably be from a lack of water. But thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. A lot of fun. This is a really, really fun show to be on.
And one day, too, if I ever get a chance to, would you like to play the role of Shaggy? Like just take over and host the show for a couple of days.
Well, yeah, how about if I just do it right now? I'll just, hi, this is Shaggy, and welcome to the, what's the name of the show?
You know what's so funny? Joel couldn't figure out which camera to switch to. He was in the other room going, there's two of them. Oh, God. So besides giving our engineer a heart attack, man, thanks for coming
Thanks,
on the
man.
show today.
Appreciate it, Shaggy. Right on.
Everybody at home, be sure to check back with us on Monday. Check out Eric Gilliom very soon in Aloha Santa, which is going to be a cool
And the
thing.
Rocky Horror Show.
And the Rocky Horror Show right around Halloween, okay? For everybody else here, me, Joel, want you to have a good, happy, safe weekend. Till next time, love you, mean it. Kate and bye. We're out. For everybody that's listening to us on the radio, big night of programming coming up. Got some great Hawaiian music and more classic country. You like classic country, right?
Well, I sure do.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, some classic country is coming up for your enjoyment on 88.5 FM, where you can listen to the show simultaneously. All right? For